It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Oh, yes, Mzansi, welcome back. It's your Feel Good Breakfast Show, Monday morning, and we are diving straight into the things that are going to serve you, just like that thing we call discipline. And discipline is a key ingredient to achieving success, and I think we know this, right? So some even say that discipline is the greatest form of self-love. I love this. Now, motivational speaker Dr. Steve Harris and entrepreneur and founder of the Roxy Davis Foundation, Roxy Davis, they are both here to unpack their perspectives on this idea and discuss the different ways to foster your focus and creativity. Ooh, I am here for this one. Good morning, guys. How are we doing?
Well, thank you.
Good, thanks. Yes.
Oh, Dr. Steve Harris, I'm actually going to start off with you, and just based on what Raul said, discipline is the greatest form of self-love. What are your thoughts on discipline?
Well, as we spoke before, I'm going to separate the two topics because I have no problem with the self-love aspect, but the discipline thing is a lot easier for me. So I'll always go for the easy side. I'll stick to easy. And for me, discipline is allocating your energy to the right thing at the right time for the right reason. You don't waste energy because that's a very precious commodity. So now you can give your best performance consistently, despite what's going on out there, cameras and whatever, and despite what's going on in here, concerns and the usual problems. If you have the discipline, you can do that. And I guess with the discipline, what's my experience, what seemed to be improbable starts to seem probable. What seemed to be implausible starts to seem plausible. What seemed to be impossible starts to seem possible. So that's my thing. And I guess then the self-love follows, because you like yourself or love yourself a lot better. How did I do?
I like that. No, Doc, you honestly painted a picture in my mind of someone literally climbing this mountain of impossible and discipline almost feeling like the steps towards that success. And the more discipline you take, the clearer that picture becomes once you reach the top. And I love what you said there.
Thank you.
Mic drop. You can go home. We're done with it.
That's it. It's all gone.
Roxy, listen, you're someone that, in my opinion, I don't know if this is true though, but you've actioned self-discipline in a beautiful way. I mean, 9 times surfing champion, amongst many other things. You're doing so much in the space that you play in. Surely discipline is an essential part of that. How do you invoke this sort of self-discipline to get you to a point where you can achieve these incredible unlocks that you have in life?
I think from a very early age, I was very competitive. So I learned that competing, the input was competing, the output was winning. Yeah. But that was it's a very circular, short-lived cycle. And what I had learned through that, though, and as I evolved and as I matured and through my surfing career, I was able to develop and have laser focus in terms of what I was focusing on, and singular focus. So being able to be in that moment, be present, achieve, and then also look at the long goal. So creating, understanding what my inputs were, understanding what my outputs were, understanding what the impact of that was going to be. So what initially started off as, a success and achievement in a quick way became understanding the journey of myself and then how I could get to that end point. And it's a journey. It's not, self-discipline doesn't just arrive. Yeah. You have to learn it. And each of us as an individual, our journey of self-discipline and growth and personal growth and self-love it's a never-ending journey. And as we grow, we evolve, we mature, that will change in itself. And that's what I learned through competitive surfing.
And that's incredible, because it's something, like you said, it's going to be there throughout life. We cannot, just because you achieve the one thing now, all of a sudden stop with the self-discipline. But Dr. Steve Harris, I want to know from you, do you think there's a connection between self-discipline and creativity?
Yes. I'm happy to say that if you're composed, then there is. If you lose it in terms of anxiety and excitement, the creativity gets compromised. But if you stay composed, you can include creativity at any part of your journey. You're in this bubble, as Ben Stokes was yesterday, and you can perform, but you can also be creative. You don't have to hit every ball for a 6. You realize, oh my word, if I hit that one, I'm in trouble. So I think the two go very well together once you've learned composure, though.
Okay.
The ability to be in the zone, in the eye of the storm. Always a storm around you.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that.
Always is.
Yeah, so
The
that-
symbolism here is powerful, and it's really like stirring something up inside of me, and I'm getting these crazy realizations. It's almost like discipline is like this investment into your future almost. You got to weigh up what you want to do now versus what's worth it later on, and discipline kind of governs that decision, right? I'm trying to maybe make this conversation practical because I think a lot of people are now aware of the fact that discipline can unlock something, right? But how do we get to a point where we can allow for ourselves to execute that discipline? How do we get to a point where we can encourage discipline, where we know that discipline is beyond just a word and a term, it's something that we now willingly are wanting to access and action at the same time? How do we get to that point where we can generate momentum maybe?
I think practically applying it for me, I've been able to in my thinking, say this is the only way. So this is the way, and then apply it to my life emotionally, psychologically, socially, spiritually, and say I need to do this holistically, and to get up in the morning and to go and do. So a lot of us want to do, but to have that discipline, it's about self-talk. It's about getting up and actually doing it. So, but you can't just focus singularly in one area of your life. You can't say, emotionally I'm doing well, where maybe physically you're not. So I think you need to take that holistic picture of discipline and apply it.
I love that. Well, Roxy, Steve, thank you for joining us today and for helping us unpack the topic of self-discipline. I think we've all learned and taken something from this, and it's all towards that self-development goal that you have. You require that discipline, and we hope that you enjoyed our conversation this morning.